excited to be here today. I want to thank Greater Mount Zion for even having me, Pastor King, Minister Kim, and the youth ministry. I'm just like honored, so honored to be here. And you know, what's going to come forward today is not from me, it's from him. So we're going to remove that out of the way right now. It's not me. You know what I mean? It's coming straight from above. And see, what we're going to discover today is something that God has already impregnated with us with. And as you saw in the skit that took place, there was a young man who was just out of hand. As you can see, he was waiting. He wasn't waiting patiently. He was really trying to say, you know, let me hurry up. I got somewhere to go. But see, he was trying to hurry up, but he really wasn't ready. You see, a lot of times we always try to push ourselves and say, yeah, I'm ready, but God said you're not. So we get mad and we get frustrated in our state that we're in, but then the whole time we get mad. So right now what we're having is we got to do a self-reflection, because it's like our greatest enemy is ourselves. That's one of our worst enemies, is ourselves. So what we're going to discover today is who we are, what kind of power we possess, and who we can defeat. So, going back to the demonstration, we saw a young man going through. And this demonstration came to me, actually, I took a business trip. I took a flight to Memphis. And I don't know what it was, but this particular flight, it was just something different. Now, I rode the plane many a times, but it was something about this particular flight. So when I got there, I understood that I had an itinerary. I understood that I had to be there at a certain time. I understood that I had to go through some things before I boarded, because they had to make sure that I wouldn't even damage where I was going. So all these different things started to process, and I said, why am I paying attention this deep this time? What is it about this particular flight or where I'm going that, you know, I'm paying attention to everything? So I remember that whole process as I was preparing to go. I put the itinerary on the refrigerator, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta be there at this day, this time, my check-in, boom, boom, okay, cool. So when I arrived to the airport, I knew I had to be, 2 hours before? So I'm making sure I don't miss it. You know why? Because something has already been paid. See, God already paid the price for it. You see what I'm saying? God already paid the price for us to aboard, but there's still some things that we have to do to make sure that we go on that flight. So as I was boarding, and I'm still in the natural, but I'm just like, man, this thing is like hitting me, because like I'm sitting in these lines and I'm just waiting to go through. But the thing is, what if you don't go through?
All right.
What if everybody in front of you go and you're already carrying some stuff and you still don't get through? How do you respond? Why don't you just let it go? Why don't you just get rid of it? Why keep holding on to something that's not going to get you access? Why? And you know what? I'm the first one to say I'm guilty. There were some things that happened in my life. There were some people that spoke to me. There were some things that said you're uneducated. Some people told me that you'll be nothing. Some people said you was too short, you was too this, you too this. But then I allowed that stuff to impregnate me and cause me to sit somewhere for too long.
Right. Yes.
Stay with me.
Amen.
Okay, we want to get into the Word. We're going to read some very, very familiar scriptures, very familiar. And first we're going to read Genesis 1, verse 26 through 29. It says, then God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give you green plant food, and it was so. God saw all that he made, and it was very good. So now just that alone right there, we can find out who our manufacturer is. God created us. So we understand that God created us. He didn't only create us, but also, if you read, he gave us dominion over some things. He already said that we have the power over some things, and he also provided us food to eat. So how great is that your creator already provided some things for you in your life already, so that you can already go through some of the different things that we may face in our life. So then if we go ahead and we go over to Romans 12:2. We're going to get right into it. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So now we already discovered, do not be conformed to this world. Do not give in to the things that we see. Do not give in to the mess that we may go around. If anything, pray for it. If anything, see that individual, see that those individuals going through things, pray for them. So, we're going to go through two more. John 10:10. Very familiar. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Marinate on that one. Then we jump over to Luke 10:19. It says, I have given you the authority to trample on the snakes and the scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy, and nothing will harm you. So what was amazing about that was, and God gave it to me in that order this time, but it was what God is saying, I got an answer for every situation that's in your life. I've already given you the authority and the power to trample on the enemy. Everything that somebody said to you, everything that somebody may have said you can't do, God said you can and you will. If you give it to me, I will take it. If you just give it to me, that I will move you to a place that you've never been before. If you give it to me, understand I got your back. No matter what may come at you, you're already equipped to make it through. So God has already told us that we are created in his image and his likeness. He already said we can, he's already fed us. Then he already told us that some of the things that we're going to go through. But then he warned us and told us, but he also said that we are conquerors.
Yes.
So the question is today, why are we holding on to it? Why are we still holding on to something that happened so long ago, so many years ago? Now see, when we come into the kingdom and we are transformed, I'm a visual learner. Y'all see, I'm going to do a lot of visual things. Now here's something that I may have wore when I was 2 years old or something, right? But see, what's happening is, God is saying, when you came into me, why are you trying to still fit into something of your past? See, what's happening is, if I try to put my arm through this, eventually it's going to cut off my circulation. Eventually it can cause me harm, but then at the end of the day, I kind of look a little silly trying to carry something that I no longer fit. So God said, you don't fit it anymore, so why not just take it off? God said, it's time to take this stuff off because it no longer fits anymore. God said, you dealt with that thing years ago, and it's already been delivered and set free. Pick your head up and walk. God said, there's a change that's about to happen. There's an activation that's about to take place, and you better not miss it. How many of us missed a flight? I remember one time I missed a flight. I got so frustrated. I started to want to just tear up the whole place. I'm mad at everybody. Don't look at me. Shut up. Leave me alone. Because at the end of the day, you knew you had to go somewhere. You had to get there at a certain time. So when you knew you had to get there at a certain time and you were late, you was already frustrated. But you know what? If I got there when I was supposed to, I wouldn't be late. So God is saying, I've given you something, and I'm going to give it to you that you cannot be late. God said it was some prerequisites for us to walk in the natural wise and for us to be in the kingdom. God said, I've given you free will. And if he's giving us free will, it's up to us to make the choice. So God said, what kind of choice are you going to make today? understand that before I walked around alive but dead. You see, God said that we can awaken the dead. We can heal the sick. But see, you can also be dead and alive. I was once dead and alive until I had to one day speak to that giant inside of me. I had to have some people who saw something in me. You see, one thing about catching a flight or going anywhere, my mother has no idea I'm about to say this, but and she's over there, come on. So, one thing that was amazing, you ever have somebody, whenever you're about to do something, they call you all the time? So it's like, whenever I'm about to go somewhere, I look at my phone and I'm like, I already know everything she's about to say. She's about to say, do you have this? Do you have this? You know you can't carry these many shoes because you have to pay extra. You know you can't carry this. You got this. You only stay in there for 2 days. Why you got 7 days of clothes? Why you got this? Why you got that? But see, in preparation of this message, now I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Why? Because even though something may happen over and over and over again, you never know what kind of day I had where I may forget. So young people, when you have leaders in the house that's rubbing your feathers or that's shaking you up, don't get mad, be glad, because there's something that they're trying to speak into your life. There's something that they're trying to shift into your life. There's something that they're trying to impregnate in you because they see something inside of you and they don't want that thing to die and decay. You see, now the blood's going to be on our hands. If I sit there and I know that you're doing something you're not to do, God said, no, the blood's going to be on my hands. So I'm not going to be at fault when you're not doing what you got to do. So I'm going to say, you know what? I don't care if you're mad at me. I don't care if you hear whatever you do. I know one thing, you better not slap me. But I'm telling you, it's one thing that I don't care what you do, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hit you, I'm going to keep hitting you, I'm going to keep hitting you with the word of God until you catch on. You see, it's also one thing, our parents are so powerful and our parents are so important. Because I remember this one time, my mother told me not to go outside the yard. Now, I'm 13, 12 years old at the time, and I was living with my grandmother, and my mother told me stay inside this fence, right? So, my friends were out there. My friends was, in front of me. My friends was out there, outside the fence. I was supposed to stay inside the fence. So my friends are out there, and they're telling me, come on now, come on. I'm like, man, my mother told me I can't go outside the fence. So, this is the fence right here, and it's the gate. This is the gate to get out. Now, how many of you know we got free will, right? She told me what not to do, but I still had the free will to do it. The choices, what kind of choices? So now I made a decision. I opened the gate. I kindly stepped outside. I ain't go too far. I'm thinking I'm good. I'm thinking I'm straight. So I begin to lay on the fence. So when she look out the window, she see me. I'm like, hey, Mom. But see, my friends had encouraged me to do something that I knew better not to do. I'm already breaking rules. I'm already now disobeying my mother. So just that small detail has caused me to disobey her. And boy, did I pay. So look, check this. I'm on the fence. I'm chilling. My mother yells from the top window. Top window, she says, Sam, all nice. Come here. So I'm outside the fence, I'm like, I'm good, okay. So I run back up, and she opened the window to yell my name, right? She kept that window open. When I came in that room, she's like, didn't I tell you to stay inside the fence? And when I say I got something that I will never forget, even at this age, I still feel it. She did not spare the rod that day. I mean, it felt like I was going to have child protective services. She was beating me profusely. But at the end of the day, I appreciate her for that, because she's saying, if you stay in my requirements of what I told you, I don't want you to be harmed when you step outside of your covering. You're inside something because my job is to cover you, so don't break my rules or you're going to pay. because she covered me, because she prayed for me, because she said, look, I'm going to show you the way, I'm standing here today. Because despite I may have had my time and my little season, but the umbilical cord was still connected. Because when I was out there doing my thing, I knew she was praying, because as she was praying, I would be coming back. Mom, I'm good. Mom, I'm good. But she kept praying. She kept praying. She kept fasting. And look at me now. So young people, don't get mad when mom and dad say do this. Don't get mad when they say to do this and take out the trash. Don't get mad. What is good is good in structure. It's good in order. So now in your life, when you have your own life, you will have some order in your life. So that thing ain't not to harm you. That thing ain't not to hurt you. It's to build you, to make you stronger, to be that giant that God has called you to be. God said you have a destiny inside of you, and I need that destiny to wake up inside of you. God said it's too long for we've been sitting somewhere for too long. Why? Because of disobedience. So God is saying it's time to get up. God said, who's ready to fly? Who's ready to take flight? We already recognize in his word, in his word, that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But God said, I've already given you the power and authority to attack those things. So when those things come at you, they're like, I'll rise up. But see, when you ain't strengthened, you ain't been working out, when somebody tell you to do something, you're weak. So the reason why we falling is because we're weak. How much word are we putting us in us today? How much are we reading? My thing is, too much of anything becomes an idol in your life. So if we're not putting God first in our life, who's your idol? What are you looking into? What are you eating on? What are you feeding on? So God said it's a transformation time. There's a transition that's about to take place. There's something that is inside of you that God needs you to understand, and it needs to awaken today. Today is the day that the transition happens. You see, in the process, when I was on that flight, it was amazing because I understood when I got through that gate and I boarded my plane. You know how the flight attendant said, turn off all devices? And the reason why they say turn off all devices is because what? There's some things that can still interfere with where you're going. So I understood I had to dismiss some relationships. I understood I had to turn off the TV. I understood I had to get off Instagram for a little bit. And some things that I had to do because I knew that if I stayed here, it would interrupt where God is trying to take me. So God is saying, I want you to get rid of them things for a second because I don't want no interference to happen from where I gotta go. And another amazing thing was when I was on that plane, when I took off, you know how like you look out the window? When you look out that window, you like, what do I see? You see clouds. So God is saying, even though you may not see things that look familiar around you, know that you're moving. Know that something is happening in your life. Know that I'm taking you somewhere. Know that I love you. Know that I care for you. Know that you're going somewhere and you're putting your trust totally and completely in me. So when I may feel alone, when I may feel by myself, that's when Matthew 7 kicks in. The road to destruction may be wide, but God's way is narrow, and that's to life. So now I understand that during my process of where I'm going, I got to understand that it's something inside of me that God needs. That's why I got to be silent and be still and enjoy the ride. You see, when you say, well, Sam, how did your transformation occur? Well, my transformation personally occurred when somebody told me to go look in the mirror. I heard that many times before, but when they said look in the mirror, this time, it was like I was already going through so much in my life. I don't care, what are you saying look at? Now I'm getting indignant, like, what are you talking about? Look at what? You know? So, I'm going to show you what I did. Get this mirror right here. Okay, you see this mirror. How many of us ever had a dirty mirror in the house? I had several. But you know, when you always go look in that mirror, you're like, you know you can clean it, right? You know I can clean this thing. I already have the resources. There's already been something that's already been given for me to clean this thing, but I haven't. So what I do is I try to look through it to still try to see what I need to see. So I'm still like trying to get myself in shape. I'm like, dang. But I still never wipe it. I still never wipe it clean. That don't make no sense. So here it is. This was my transformation. This was me. Dirty. Messed up. So much going on in my life. Someone told me go look in the mirror. But see, this time when I looked in the mirror, I saw something different. When I looked in the mirror this time, that's when Genesis 1:26-29 opened me up. That's when I began to say, you know what? If God made me in his image, then I know that I'm good. If God said I could fight the battle, then I know that I'm good. So what happened was, God is saying, I've already given you the resources to wipe yourself. So as I begin to spray myself down, God began to wipe me. Those areas in my life where I thought they were once foggy, God began to clean me. But see, it all started with a mindset. See, when my mind was made up to make this change in my life, I had to understand that everything else will fall in order. Once I think on something good, good things happen. You ever think about something where like, oh, I'm sick, I'm calling out of work, I'm sick, but then you end up sick? Why? It's the power of the mind. The mind is so powerful that whatever you feed into it is what's going to be the offspring. So as I begin to think on the good things of God and what God has done in my life, he began to wipe my mind clean. So now once I begin to see my mind begin to clean, I begin to see something differently. Now my sight had once seemed foggy had begun to change. Now I'm starting to see the things of God, the miraculous things of God. Now I'm starting to see something that God once saw in me. So now when I see these things, God is saying, okay, you know how you wipe something down, you hear that noise, squeaky, 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 squeaky. So God's saying, sound the alarm, because my giant is now believing in himself. So now sound the alarm because something is changing. Sound the alarm because my daughter and my son is now rising up. So now, once he began to change my eyesight and my ears, I begin to start smelling better. So now my smell that once stink now begin to smell good. So now I have my aroma. Now when I walk into the room, people are now saying, ooh, who is that? Yeah, that's my king. I'm walking with my king now. That other mess that I used to walk with, I'm not walking with anymore. So now, when he began to change my sit, now my mouth began to change. Those things that I once said that I was, I begin to say that I am. I am more than a conqueror. I am powerful. I am mighty. Why? Because God told me I am. I am going to be that giant. I am that entrepreneur. I am that person that's going to graduate. I am that person that's going to reach every dream, every destiny. So once that thing began to happen, my feeling began to change. Now I'm starting to feel the anointing of God. Now when I touch things are brought back to life. When I see my sister or my brother sick, I begin to heal them and pray for them. So God's saying, when my touch is there, now, okay, we're going to have that change of heart. So now my heart that once beat it irregularly, that one beat that just beat it like just chaotic. Now my heart is ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. That's a sign of God's DNA running through my body now. God is running through my veins right now. So now I'm feeling something different. And you know that nothing changed until you got your feet right. Because now when God said, okay, you got half of your body done, we're going to finish it off. So now when you walk, you can face the giants. Now when you walk, you can face the enemy. Now when you walk, you understand who you are. Now when you walk, when things come at you, they don't bother you. Now when I walk, I'm saying, yeah, you said that before, that worked before, it's not going to work this time. Now when I walk, I say, I got it going on. Now when I walk, I got my confidence. Now when I walk, I understand I'm going somewhere. I got my head up now because I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
See, my transformation came from head to toe. Head to toe. And I want everybody to understand something. God gave me this vision. When of me doing this, but I saw this demonstration once before. This was a $100 bill. Right? If I did like this, balled it up, I threw it on the ground, I stepped on it, and I picked it up, would you still use it? Why? Because it never lost its worth. So God said, ain't nobody lose their worth in here. I don't care what you've been through, I don't care what you face in your life, you have not lost your worth. It's something inside of you that God needs. It's something inside of you that God wants to awaken. It's time to move. It's time to move. It's time to move. It's time to move. So now, because I become a change agent, now when I line back up, when I get back in line to aboard my flight, I understand that I dealt with some things. I understand that what once held me down would no longer hold me anymore because I dealt with some things face to face. I face to face with the enemy and told him, I'm not what you said I was, I'm no longer, because of my God said so. You come to kill and steal and destroy me, but my God said I got the authority to pronounce and denounce some things off of my life. So now once I begin to say that, I begin to grab my bags. I begin to get confidence now. Now you see me, I'm ready. And they said, yeah, I once carried some things before, but I ain't carrying them no more because I picked up what was going on. So now when I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to board now. So as I'm going through the gate, I'm like, yeah, check me. So I'm like, ho, go back through, because I remember before, how you once before, come through again. Turn around. Oh. So I'm looking, wow, you can't find nothing because God already cleaned me. So now when God cleaned me, I understand I can go somewhere. So now you know anything about a flight. A flight reaches a certain amount of level. So we're going to go, a flight reaches a certain amount of speed before it takes off. A plane reaches about a speed of 160 to 185 miles per hour. So the thing is, once you get through, you need to take off. Don't worry about who's to the left of you. Don't worry about who's to the right of you. Don't worry about anything because God has a plan for you. So I begin to take off. I begin to walk in my purpose. And God said, are you ready? On your mark. Are you marked? You ready? Board and fight to destiny, let's go. Board and fight to destiny, let's go. Board and fight to destiny. And he said, all aboard, let's go. So yes, we may have heard something today. Yes, we may have saw some visual things, but God is saying all I want you to do is take action. Now we may have saw ourselves in this. We may have experienced some different things. What God said today, again, that wasn't me, that was God. So God is doing a call. God is saying, okay, how many of us been carrying some things? How many of us have been frustrated for too long not to get up and go where we need to go? We have to pay attention to the detail. It's that small thing that we just don't want to let go. It's that small thing that's holding you back from that destiny, that thing that God has for you. And it's that small thing. That thing is so small as a shoestring. I need a shoestring to tie it up so I can run. So God said, who's ready to take flight today? Who's ready to be changed today? Who's ready to say, you know what? I'm tired of that stuff. I ain't carrying it no more. Amen. You see, that's when Ephesians kicked in. And I understood now I got the full armor of God. I got my belt of truth. My feet are ready. I got my sword, which is my word. So now I can face anything that comes at me because now I'm changed. Now I'm a giant in him.
Amen. Amen.
So the question is there is who ready to take flight?
Amen. Amen.
When ask Minister King to come up. Who ready to take flight?
Can we praise God for that word? Can we praise God for moving in this house? Can we praise Him on today? Some of us are standing there. We're ready to move. used to tell me whenever I got upset about something and I didn't know how to deal with it, she would take me to the side and she would say, what is bothering you? What is it that's wrong? And whatever it was, she made me symbolically throw it in the trash. She simply just told me to walk to the trash and throw it away, because that symbolically got me in a physical mindset that this is no longer going to hold me down. You can't take stuff with you. So right now, if there's anything that's holding you down, we're going to take a page from the book of my mother. I want you to write that thing down, because we're letting go of it today. We're letting go of it today. And if you need a piece of paper, the ushers have paper for you, because we're letting this thing go today. We're no longer being held bound by the things that's keeping us away from God. We're no longer being bound. So if you have something that you want to hold on to, and God is saying, let that thing go. It's weighing you down. Let it go. It can't go with you no more.
Yeah.
You was held bound by it too long. Too long you sat with this thing. Now if some of you are like, I don't have nothing bothering me, you just good, you are perfect, you Jesus. Nothing's bothering you. Then you can stay in your seat. But if it's something that you just wish to get to that next level, I want you to come up here and throw that thing in the trash.